What is up, guys? My name is Harry Rice. Welcome back to the channel for a brand new video. And today we are going to be doing my 2020 NHL Playoffs Bracket Challenge. There will be a link in the description if I can figure out how to post it. You guys can post your brackets within mine. It's the bracket challenge. You know how it works. So yeah, as per usual, I'm going to give my predictions for the playoffs. That's the whole reason I'm here. I'm not just here to tell you to enter my bracket. And as you guys could probably tell, I do not have the green hair yet. If you're a member of the HCH community, you will know why I need green hair. It's coming eventually. It'll come eventually. So getting right into the playoff brackets, we are going to go from east, west, east, west, east, west, east, west. We're going to go top to bottom, one by one. So the Philadelphia Flyers versus the Montreal Canadiens. And this is one, uh, my face is blocking up, but the Flyers have the distinct advantage, goals against, all that stuff. However, I do see the Montreal Canadiens upsetting the Philadelphia Flyers. I feel like the Habs have a lot of momentum after kind of destroying the Penguins in 4 games. If Carey Price can maintain how amazing he's been in the playoffs so far, then I think Carter Hart is going to have a run for his money and is going to get overwhelmed. And I do think the Montreal Canadiens are going to upset the Philadelphia Flyers and go on to the second round of the playoffs. And I think they are going to keep riding the momentum of the Penguins to take out the other Battle of Pennsylvania participant. Going over to the West, and of course as well, if we keep playing the amazing defensive game that we've somehow been able to play against the Penguins and keep it up against the Flyers, that is also going to help. And if our offense shows up again, then we definitely have a big chance there of beating the Philadelphia Flyers. Next up, the Vegas Golden Knights and the Chicago Blackhawks. The Vegas Golden Knights kind of obviously have a very large advantage here. Not very large, but they have the distinct advantage personally. However, this is one where I do see another upset. As much as I love the Vegas Golden Knights, I see the Chicago Blackhawks going on to the second round of the playoffs personally. The Vegas Golden Knights, I saw something. I think it was they've never lost a matchup in the playoffs to I think it was a Pacific Division team. However, I think this is the first. I think the Blackhawks are going to take out the Vegas Golden Knights, and it's not going to be pretty for them. I think there's going to be a lot of goals from the Blackhawks. Fleury and or Leonard, whoever they do play in net. I would like to see Leonard, Crawford, whoever they play against, Fleury or Leonard. If Vegas does start Leonard, it's going to be very ugly for them, unfortunately. I do think Chicago is going to find a way to break down the defense the way Washington was able to in the Stanley Cup Finals in 2018 when we all thought Vegas was going to take it because Vegas. I think the Blackhawks are going to destroy the Vegas Golden Knights, unfortunately, and go on to the second round. Next up, the Tampa Bay Lightning taking on the Columbus Blue Jackets, and this is a no-brainer. Columbus is going to sweep the Tampa Bay Lightning. I'm just going to say it now. They did it last year. People are having very high expectations for the Lightning, like last year, and Columbus is going to come in and just sweep them aside, honestly. I mean, I don't even need to look at the statistics. I mean, yes, Tampa does have the advantage, the statistical advantage. However, regular season means jack shit in the playoffs, and I do see Columbus coming in and pretty much destroying the Tampa Bay Lightning. So, Columbus will go on to the second round of the playoffs. It's Columbus. I'm not going to doubt them. They just came off a big momentum change against the Toronto Maple Leafs, and I think they're going to take out Tampa, which is funny because Tampa was supposed to face Toronto if the playoffs had been how they were when the break started. So, yeah. Next up, going over to the West, Colorado and Arizona. Colorado, very narrowly, in my opinion, has a advantage over the Arizona Coyotes. The Arizona Coyotes were better on the power play. They were better on the penalty kill, and they were better at containing the goals against because they do play a very defensive game. And you know what? This is another matchup. This is going to be a very big hot take. I think Arizona is going to take out the Colorado Avalanche. I think the Avs kind of stumbled in the round robin and kind of just seemed like they kind of really didn't care all that much. And of course, they did ride their way to a second seed. They're not like St. Louis, who only lost out on the third place match by literally a point in the shootout with Dallas. But I do think Arizona is going to come in and they are going to ride the momentum off beating the Nashville Predators and take out the Colorado Avalanche. I think this is going to be a playoffs where a lot of upsets are going to happen once more. Obviously, I was one of the few people who actually predicted Chicago to take out the Oilers. I had a little too much faith in them. I predicted them in 3, but they did it in 4. I also did predict the Arizona Coyotes to take out the Nashville Predators. So yeah, we will definitely see how that matchup goes. But I do see Arizona taking out the Avalanche and potentially going on a run. Next up, the Washington Capitals and the Islanders. This is very much a no-brainer. Barry Trotz is going to coach the Islanders to a second round appearance at least, in my opinion. I will look at the advantages. It is in favor of the Capitals, but I do think the Islanders are going to be able to hold off Ovechkin because, let's face it, at this point, Washington is Ovechkin and Karlsson, but I think Karlsson is still hurt, so that is a massive dent in the Capitals. I know the Islanders are missing Boychuk, but I think he was skating, so he should be back in time for this playoff match. And I do think the Islanders are going to take it. I think the Islanders are going to they're going to fight hard, and so will the Capitals. And I think this is going to be a great series. I don't necessarily know if it's going to be like Montreal or Quebec, but it is going to be quite physical in my opinion. I do think Montreal and Philly, though, does have the likelihood to be a very, very ugly matchup. And I honestly could see a goalie fight. That for some reason, that's the one series I could see a goalie fight. Next up, Dallas and Calgary. This one was kind of iffy because I was thinking, okay, does Dallas rebound off of their very staggering round robin and beat the Flames? Or do the Flames capitalize on beating a very depleted Winnipeg Jets team? And I made my mind up, and yes, the Calgary Flames are going to continue to ride their momentum off of beating the stagnated Winnipeg Jets team and beat a depleted Winnipeg Jets team and defeat a stagnated Dallas Stars team that, for some reason, a lot of people see going to the Cup. I just don't see it. I don't think Dallas has what it takes to get to the Cup, personally. I would like to see it happen, but, I personally, I don't see it. I don't see it. And, of course, I will look at the statistical advantage. It technically does go to the Stars, but I would say it's very, very narrowly. I mean, face-off win percentage, I don't even know why you count that. It doesn't necessarily matter for the most part, but yeah. So, Dallas and Calgary, I do see Calgary winning. Final matchup in the East for the first round, the Boston Bruins taking on the Carolina Hurricanes. And I know as a Habs fan, a lot of people are thinking, oh, he's going to go Carolina Hurricanes. And at first, I did. At first, when I was doing a few of these bracket challenges, and you can actually look if you're on Hot Take Hockey's Sim League or the NHL Sim League or the Habs, I think I also entered into. I think all of these I do take Carolina. And if you do look at the statistical advantages, everything is in favor of the Bruins. And I know the Hurricanes are going to want revenge after last year in the conference finals, getting taken out by the Bruins en route to a 7-game Stanley Cup Finals loss against the St. Louis Blues, who we are going to get to in a minute. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, Carolina Hurricanes, because then they'd face the Montreal the Montreal Canadiens, and we'd have an all upset seed right here. But you know what? I do think Boston's going to pull through. I personally do think that the Boston Bruins are going to pull through over the Carolina Hurricanes. It might take a while, but I do think the Boston Bruins are going to pull through and take out the Carolina Hurricanes in the first round of the playoffs. Going to the second round, you see what matchup it would create, and I'm smiling just thinking about it. But before we do get to the second round, we have one final matchup in the West to get to. That is the St. Louis Blues taking on the Vancouver Canucks. The Vancouver Canucks, who... I'm sorry, I'm just muting my Discord. The Vancouver Canucks, who have a very, very slight, in my opinion, very, very slight disadvantage against the Blues. The Blues win the goals against, power play, and the point percentage. But if you look at it, Vancouver scored more games. They were better on the PK, and they were better on the face-off percentage, if you want to count that. Personally, this is one where I can see a massive upset. I would argue massive. And I'm going to say the Vancouver Canucks win. I honestly think the Vancouver Canucks are going to take out the defending Stanley Cup champion St. Louis Blues. I know in the predictions I had against, I know the predictions I had on back in June, I think it was June or July when I was at my sister's house and I did my predictions there. I know I had the St. Louis Blues going all the way to the Stanley Cup and repeating, but because of what they did in the round robin, I see them out early. I see everyone in the West that is a favorite out early. and I know it's easy to go with the underdogs, or it's easy to go with everyone who's a favorite. But personally, I see this playoffs being a massive upset fest. Just like when you're in the conference finals, you're like, how did these teams get here? And we will get to that in a second. But I do think, like I said, the Vancouver Canucks, I think they're going to be able to outscore St. Louis. I do think they're going to be able to play great defense against St. Louis. Vancouver, who came in against the Winnipeg Jets, the Minnesota Wild, sorry, showed, in my opinion, they really showed that they can play a great defensive game. They lost game one, came back to win three straight, won it in four. In my opinion, I think this is definitely a series where Vancouver is going to be very, very good. And I could argue this could be a coming out party for someone like a Jake Virtanen or an Adam Gaudette if he gets in the lineup, which I think he is. But I think this either the series or these playoffs as a whole could be a massive coming out party for some Canucks and show. I think a lot of players in for different teams could have a big coming out party. I mean, Dominic Kubalik arguably had a massive coming out party against the Oilers in his first game with 5 points. I think didn't Quinn Hughes have 6 points in the final game against the Minnesota Wild, or was it? No, not Quinn Hughes. Someone had 6 points, or was it? I forget who, but someone had 6 points. I feel like. But yeah, so with that, the second round is set. We are gonna have Vancouver and Chicago in the West, Calgary, Arizona. Then we are also gonna have New York and Columbus, and Boston, Montreal, the greatest rivalry in the history of hockey, would be taking place in the second round because, of course, it is highest seed versus lowest. I'm gonna start in the West, and I'm actually gonna start with the Calgary and Arizona matchup because I do want to leave the suspense for Boston, Montreal. So with the Calgary Flames and Arizona Coyotes, the Calgary Flames do have the advantage. They win in the goals per game, the power play percentage, and the point percentage, how many points they won. But realistically, if you take that out and you take out the face-off wins, they are very even, though the Arizona Coyotes do win in the penalty kill and the goals against average. And you know what? I am going to say it. As much as I love going for the Flames and as much as I love the Flames, would love to see them go on a big run, I honestly see the Arizona Coyotes getting to the conference finals this year. There's probably a massive upset, but hey, if you're going to take out the favorites to win the Stanley Cup, the Colorado Avalanche, you might as well go on a big run. You might as well go to at least the conference finals. And the Yotes going to the conference finals for the first time since 2012, as well as making the playoffs for the first time since 2020, or since 2012, getting to the conference finals again, it would only be fitting. So I personally do see the Arizona Coyotes beating the Calgary Flames. It's going to be an ugly series, I think. But I do think the Arizona Coyotes will get to the conference finals. And they will face off against either Vancouver or Chicago that we will get to in a minute. But first off, the New York Islanders and the Columbus Blue Jackets. The advantage pretty distinctively goes to the New York Islanders. The win in the goals per game and the power play percentage and the face-off percentage, just narrowly though, and the point percentage, but I'm disqualifying that. The only thing Columbus wins in is the goals against per average, the goals against per game, and the power play, the penalty kill percentage, sorry. Personally, this could go either way. This is one where I think Torts could potentially coach the Blue Jackets to a potential conference finals matchup. But personally, I do think I have to go with my gut, and my gut is telling me that the Islanders are going to defensively destroy the Columbus Blue Jackets in the second round and go to the conference finals. And I'm not just saying this because I'm friends with Isles Girl. I genuinely do believe that the Islanders have what it takes to knock off the Capitals. They have what it takes to knock off the Blue Jackets, and we'll see who they face in the conference finals, whether it's the Bruins or the Montreal Canadiens. But first off, Vancouver Canucks and the Chicago Blackhawks. The Vancouver Canucks, for the first time in probably a long time, have the statistical advantage over the Blackhawks. Goals per game, power play percentage, face-off, and point percentage. Blackhawks surprisingly have the advantage in goals against per game. Not by much though, very very narrowly. .04 is the differential. The penalty kill, the Blackhawks were fairly good at. The power play percentage, surprisingly, is where Vancouver could really win this. It's a whole 9 points, nearly a whole 9 points difference. And personally, this is one that it's going to be brutal. It is going to be nuts. And actually, since I only put the games in the first and for the first round, I will say what I think these games are going to go to in the second conference and Stanley Cup finals. Calgary, Arizona, I do think personally is going to go to 6. Could go to 5 in Arizona. Could go to Arizona in 5, but I do think it is going to be forced to a game 6. Not necessarily game 7, but I think it's going to be Arizona 4-2. New York and Columbus, I honestly see this one being in 5. I think Columbus steals a game. Maybe it's game 1 or game 2 or something like that. A very early game. But the Islanders are going to win four out of 5. They're going to win either 2, Columbus wins 1, and then the Islanders win next 2, something like that. But I do think the Islanders are going to win in 5. I don't think the Blue Jackets necessarily have what it takes to withstand the Islanders, in my opinion. And speaking of Vancouver, Chicago, I will get back to this one. The Chicago Blackhawks take out the Vancouver Canucks. I don't know why. I just had a complete brain fart right there. I was thinking this is 2019 for some reason, and the Vancouver Canucks were in the playoffs. No, 2020 Blackhawks are going to win, in my opinion. I know, okay, the Vancouver Canucks just beat the St. Louis Blues, but I think they could potentially miss here. I think they could potentially miss most likely. For me personally, I do think that with the Vancouver Canucks, they will have some defensive issues against the Blackhawks. I think because of, what's happened in the past, the Blackhawks, they've always dominated us. Yeah, it's going to come back, and I think the Blackhawks are going to come back. And unfortunately for Canucks fans, I'm sorry, the hockey guy, if for some reason he's ever watching this, I think Chicago comes back down 3-2 and wins the series in 7. I can honestly see the Blackhawks coming back down from that. I don't think it's going to be a 3-0 complete meltdown of the Canucks, and the Blackhawks are going to win in 7. I do think it's 3-2 series lead for the Canucks that they blow, and the Blackhawks win in 7, go on to face the Arizona Coyotes in the conference finals. And now the big matchup, the matchup that everyone is wanting to see. The Boston Bruins taking on the Montreal Canadiens. No big surprise, the Bruins win everything in the statistical advantage. But then again, it's Montreal and Boston in the playoffs, and we know how it goes. Easily, Montreal is going to the conference finals. I'm sorry, Bruins fans, if I have any on the channel, which I don't think I do. That'd be very weird. But I do see Montreal. And I see Montreal in 4. I think Montreal makes a complete joke out of the Boston Bruins, and I think they sweep them. This is one where I could either see it being a sweep or 7 games. No 5 or 6. It's either 4 games or 7, and I'm going for 4 personally. As much as I would love to see a 7-game series between the Montreal Canadiens and the Boston Bruins, I think the Bruins are going to play it easy. Like, hey, Montreal, we beat them in the regular season series, whatever. And Montreal's going to come out hitting strong. They're going to come out very, very hard, playing great defense like they did against Pittsburgh and hopefully against Philly. They're going to score a lot of goals on the Boston Bruins, in my opinion. They're going to mentally take out Rask and Halak, I think. Montreal, I can see this one. It's either 4 or 7. I can't choose. I said 4, but looking at it, it's either 4 or 7, in my opinion. Montreal either wins in 4 or 7. I can't see a world where Boston beats the Montreal Canadiens in the second round of the playoffs, personally, this year. So now, into the conference finals. This is nuts. So we have Chicago, Arizona on one side, Montreal, New York on the other, or the Islanders, I should say. Chicago, Arizona, Montreal, Islanders. I'm going to start on the East since it started on the West this time. Montreal and the Islanders. Montreal surprisingly has the advantage here. They scored more goals per game. They had a better penalty kill, just better power play, just barely, and better face-off percentage, just barely as well. Islanders have the advantage in the goals against per game, the penalty kill, and the point percentage, which that kind of plays into nothing. And so does face-off win percentage, in my opinion. So very kind of even, in my opinion. This one is a complete just shake the dice, throw it out there, and whoever wins, wins. And personally, this is one where personally I see a very, very tough matchup for me to compare. Because it's the Islanders and Montreal. The Islanders play a very trap-like game where they score 2 or 3 if they're lucky, mostly score 1 or 2 goals, and just hold off the other team from scoring. Montreal is kind of getting into that trap-like game right now. They have scored, I think they've scored an average of about 3 goals a game when they face the Penguins. So for me personally, it is definitely, like I said, it's a shake of the dice. It's shake the dice. Whoever wins, wins. But personally, I do have to say, I honestly, and I'm sorry, Alice Girl, but I think the Montreal Canadiens are going to the Stanley Cup Finals. As a Habs fan, it's not just because I'm biased. I genuinely see all the great teams being knocked out early, and Montreal, I don't want to say having a fairly easy time to the Stanley Cup Final because they have to face the 1-seed Philly Flyers, the 4th-seed Bruins, and then the 6th-seed Islanders. Only would have been more fitting if they faced 2, 4, 6, and then go on to face either the 7th or 8th seed, you know. But yeah, I think the Montreal Canadiens are going to find a way to get around the Islanders' kind of trap style of game with the Eggman behind their bench and with our own Eggman behind our bench. I do think we are going to find a way to take out the Islanders, and personally, I see this one going 6. I unfortunately don't see it going 7, but I do see this one going 6. The New York Islanders, I think, are going to take a few games, but the Montreal Canadiens will advance to the Stanley Cup Finals and face either the Arizona Coyotes or the Chicago Blackhawks. Speaking of that matchup, Chicago and Arizona, the distinct advantage kind of goes to the Arizona Coyotes. The Blackhawks have the advantage in the goals per game and the face-off percentage, just barely though. Arizona takes the point percentage, the penalty kill percentage, the power play percentage, and the goals against per game percentage. So personally, this is kind of one where it's like, okay, do you have Arizona going to the Stanley Cup Final for the first time in franchise history? Or do you have the Blackhawks going back to the finals and having an original 6 matchup? For me personally, it's kind of a no-brainer for me personally. It's an 8 seed versus 8 seed original 6 matchup in the Stanley Cup Finals. I think the Chicago Blackhawks take out the Arizona Coyotes and go on to face the Montreal Canadiens, 8th seed versus 8th seed, team that just fired Joel Quenneville. John Quenneville's a player. Just fired Joel Quenneville, who went to Florida and got taken out in the play-in round by the Islanders. Against the team who's had trust in Bergevin and Julien for a few years, or Julien, because he's not French. Claude Julien and Marc Bergevin had trust in them for a few years, and I think it pays off. We get an original 6 matchup for the first time in God knows how long in the playoffs. And this is going to be an exciting series. Chicago, Montreal, the advantage goes to the Blackhawks. They scored more goals per game. They held off the goals against per game just barely, .04 again. They had the advantage in the penalty kill and the point percentage. Montreal has the advantage in the power play and the face-off win percentage, which face-off win percentage, again, I don't really count, so or point percentage. They win via 3-1 advantage for the Blackhawks. But personally, Montreal has played the trap style. And I don't think the Blackhawks have what it takes to hold off the trap style. If Montreal can come out and score 3 to 4 goals a game against the Blackhawks and hold them off to 1 or 2, it's either that or this is a very high-scoring series, in my opinion. This is a very high-scoring series, or it's a very, very slow and boring Stanley Cup Finals. And personally, as much as I was trying to find my Chicago hat so I could rep both teams that were in the Stanley Cup Final, I can't seem to find it. I guarantee I'm going to find it like 2 minutes after I finish recording this. Personally, this series could go either way. And personally, as a Habs fan and as a kind of a Blackhawks fan, I'm just going to sit back when it comes on, if it even happens. I'm just going to sit back, watch, and enjoy the show. And personally, for me, the 2020 Stanley Cup champions, Chicago or Montreal. For me, 2020 Stanley Cup champions are the Montreal Canadiens. I think the Montreal Canadiens, in the year that they are expected to go out against the Flyers, a lot of people predicting them against the Flyers. A majority of people are predicting them to go out against the Flyers like they did against the Penguins. Personally, I think the Montreal Canadiens do much better when they kind of have nothing to lose. That's the way they played against the Penguins. They have nothing to lose, everything to gain, and I think this is going to be the year that we finally claim our 25th Stanley Cup. We are a massive underdog. We're going to be a massive underdog against the Flyers, against the Bruins, even though people are going to say, oh, Montreal because of the series. Islanders are probably going to be predicted to win against us, and if we get to the finals, the Blackhawks are going to be predicted to win against us. We're somehow going to be the underdogs, even though it's 8 seed versus 8 seed. Total goals scored in the Stanley Cup Final. Personally, you know what? I'm going to go quite low. I'm going to say 18 goals. That's very, very low. So I'm going to go for 18 goals scored. And, yeah. So the Montreal Canadiens are going to be the 2020 Stanley Cup champions. And I'm not just saying this for the hot take. I had a couple comments on the one I did in June of people saying, oh, hey, this is just a hot take. These are just hot takes for the sake of being hot takes. But no. Looking at it, I was right. Chicago did beat Edmonton. Arizona did beat Anaheim did beat Nashville. Calgary did beat Winnipeg. Vancouver did beat Minnesota. Montreal did beat Pittsburgh. Columbus Toronto lost to the Blue Jackets. The Islanders won against the Panthers. Though I did change my prediction very last minute. With I think a week before the playoffs, I changed it to Islanders in 3, and the Hurricanes beat the Rangers. So I actually ended up getting a lot wrong in the East. The West, I was completely right. I was right 4 for 4. So 5 out of 8 is not that bad at all. All right, so now here we go, the bonus round. For this one, I am going to shrink myself just a little bit. We are going to go down to kind of mini fridge size. So, yeah, so first round, Chicago over Vegas. I see it being in 5 games personally. I don't think it's going to take long for the Vegas Golden Knights to get out. Arizona, Colorado. I can see this being kind of a Tampa, Columbus last year. I see Arizona in 4. I don't think Colorado takes a game. I think next year is going to be the year for them to really break out personally. I think they need to go through something like Tampa did, except Colorado's not going to choke next year. They are going to choke this year, but they're not going to choke next year. Calgary over Dallas, I see this one being in 5 as well, personally. Vancouver, St. Louis, this one I see in 7. I do think Vancouver is going to have a bit of a difficult time taking out the Blues, and it's going to go to 7. But I think the Canucks are going to eventually win. Montreal and Philly, this one I see in 6, personally. I just see Montreal not having difficulty taking out Philly, but I do think it is going to be a very competitive series. I don't think they're going to sweep. I don't think they're going to win in 7. I see 6. Columbus or Tampa, of course you got to go Columbus in 4. New York over Washington, this is another one I do. This is the one I do see in 6. Boston over Carolina, I see this one in 5. I see only one Game 7 this year, personally. And you know what? It's Vancouver, St. Louis. Boston is taking out Colorado, Carolina in 5. Personally, having 2 sweeps is very bold. I know that's not going to happen, but this is what I think is going to happen. So, yeah, guys, that is pretty much going to do it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, favorite channel exclusive, but not limited to YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, and everything else. My name is Harry Rice. Subscribe to the Puff Club. Subscribe to the HT Club if you're a member of the Mod Squad, like my good boys. DDT Regulator, my boy, my homie. Hot Take Hockey, Spotlight Hockey, all the different hockeys. Let's Hockey, Rick Nelson, Big OG. Randy N, I believe, is still a mod on the channel, even though he hasn't shown up to a stream in quite a while. If you remember the Mod Squad, you're awesome. Links in the description. Firstly is the NHL Bracket Challenge, if I can even find a way to get a link there, which I should be able to, I think. Of course, also my speedrun account. I do want to start getting back into speedrunning. I do have to get back on the UFC Undisputed 2010 grind because I want to lower my high score, or I want to lower the time to sub 5 minutes, which I will definitely do eventually, most likely, hopefully. I also have my what's it called? My PayPal. I have my PayPal if you wanna give a donation, then it's greatly appreciated. No refunds, unfortunately, because PayPal takes a percentage and it'd just be going back and forth, whatever. Also, the Amazon wish list and the PO box in the description. If you want to send anything my way, it's greatly appreciated. I will do an unboxing. If there's anything you send me, it's greatly appreciated. Like I said, you'll get a video. So there's that. Of course, there's also the Twitter and my Twitch in the description. Or my Twitter, I don't use that often. I mostly just tweet out Hot Take Hockey's streams whenever he goes live. Very rarely I'll actually tweet something myself. Twitch, I'm not using it all right now, mostly because my Wi-Fi is absolute garbage. And also, I don't really know what to play. I mean, I could do some Clone Hero, but I mean, my controller's kind of loud, so I don't know. I might do it eventually, most likely on YouTube though. So yeah, I also hate Twitch, so that kind of comes into effect. And of course, the letterbox also in the description. It's where I rate and review movies. Most of the time, I just rate them. Very rarely, I'll actually review them because I want to save the reviews for YouTube eventually. So yeah, guys, check it out if you want to know movies. Check it out if you want to know movies 11. Unless you rather check out the video which I made for Christmas Day last year, which may or may not be my top favorite movies of all time of 2019. Or if you want to wait until the last video of 25 Days of Harry this year, you can check it out, which may or may not be my top 100 favorite movies of all time of 2020. Thank you guys so much for watching. Also check it out if you want to know movies I hate. Might do the video on that in the future. Who really knows? So guys, that's gonna do it. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Harry Rice. I love every single viewer of mine, whether you comment something positive, negative, you like, you dislike, you share, you don't share, whatever it is. I greatly appreciate it. My name is Harry Rice. Love you all. I am out. Peace.